The Africans are one of those peoples educated in the ceremonies of the useless, masters of the art of passing the time away. The theater of life in Africa would be a false one without the constant presence of play, of games that are not intended to kill time, but exactly the opposite, to fill it with meaning. Nothing is free from the actions of the invisible, from the ancestors and spirits that inhabit this place, not even at play. In Africa, playing is something very serious.
My dream is to get 30 or 40 cows together so I can buy 2 or 3 wives. Here, wealth is measured by the number of cows and wives you have. But first, you have to take part in the fight. It doesn't matter how many cows you have, if you don't fight at least once. Every man has to fight at least once if he wants to get married. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. The important thing is to fight.
Bargango is a young Surma whose father died when he was 15. He left him 4 cows. In 5 years, he has managed to double that number. However, he is still far from the number he needs to buy his first wife. The Surma live on the western shore of the Omo River, in a mountainous region in the remote southern part of Ethiopia, along the Sudanese border. They occupy an isolated area which is difficult to reach. For centuries, and still today, the Surma have lived in conflict with neighboring tribes, conflicts which used to be solved by means of the donga, a sort of stick fight. In the last decade, the war in neighboring Sudan has allowed an uncontrolled number of firearms to fall into their hands. Now the majority of conflicts are resolved by shots, not sticks. A shot to the stomach is more effective than a stick in the ribs. And although modernity is establishing itself, the donga still holds out. There are still many young men like Bargango who are committed to preserving the traditional sense of the fight.
Our mother also died 2 years ago. Then my sister and I went to live with my father's second wife. Now, I'm the one responsible for negotiating when she finds a husband who wants her.
As in the majority of traditional African cultures, Surma men and women live in separate worlds. The women are in charge of the home, of the little daily chores. The men's life revolves around the cattle. In an extremely fragile semi-nomadic world, animals provide stability. Among the Surma, the gold standard doesn't yet rule, but rather the cow standard. Everything has a price in cows. They represent the true coin of local currency. But in recent years, new standards have been introduced to the world of the Surma, new circumstances and new values which are rapidly changing their perception of life.
I was talking once to an older man and I asked what is his dream, and he said, well, what I'd like to do is get enough cows to get another wife and then I can sit under a tree and watch her work in the garden and look at my cows. So in a sense, that's the dream of some of the men, is to have more than one wife so that they then can sit under the tree and watch them work and watch their cows. To get a wife could involve from 15 to 30 cows or more, including the exchange of a gun. So it does represent a lot of cattle and wealth to the person when he takes another wife.
No, I wouldn't like to have several husbands. With one, I've got quite enough. My dream is to raise my children and have something to eat for tomorrow.
Promiscuity is sort of expected. It's not frowned upon. So a lot of times after a stick fight, you'll see the men and the women breaking up and enjoying each other. The various methods of getting a wife. The most common is where the young men and the young girls all go to the stick fights. The men do the fighting, and then after a man is victorious, he'll be carried around. One of the girls will come out of the crowd with some beads and give it to the man. That's the most common accepted method, but there's another method that you can take a girl by force. Then there's a third way, which is the result of revenge killing. It's one of the ways of solving a killing. If someone has been killed, a living girl has to be exchanged from the killer to that family. And this girl then becomes the wife of one of the family members of the person who was killed. You may refer to the girl as being a peace child. It is through this girl's being exchanged that peace between the two groups comes.
Before they are married, Surma women insert a clay plate in their lower lip. Month after month, they insert a larger plate until they achieve the desired size. The bigger the plate, the more cows the family can ask for her.
We put the plate in for respect. If we don't do it, our mothers-in-law won't respect us. Until she dies, I won't be able to stop wearing it. There are more and more girls without plates. Before it was obligatory to wear it, but now everyone does what they like. Nobody makes you, but there are a lot of men who won't want you without a plate. That's why we still do it.
When my mother was alive, I was happy with the family. She gave me advice and I helped us to get by. Now I only think about getting married and forming my own family.
Bargango works towards this goal. The stick fight is the first step. It isn't easy to take part in the combats which are regularly organized between different Surma villages. To participate, one has to be prepared. Every afternoon, Bargango and the rest of the young men in the community train for the big fight which is about to be held.
When they see me fight, all the women will want me to choose them to be my wife. I'm the strongest, and I'm clever enough to fight whoever I'm faced with.